where you need help or support, please feel free to send us a DM. I'm there to support you. So today, just 3, and maybe I might give you one extra one anyway. So today we'll be speaking about 3 common mistakes to avoid in raising a brilliant child. And what do we mean by brilliant, right? I went to the dictionary as well so that we're all clear. Brilliant means that, exceptionally talented. If your child, you want a skillful child, you want a bright child, right? Then that's what we mean by brilliant. And everyone wants their children to be brilliant. And to be honest, every child has that capability to be brilliant, but it's our responsibility as a parent to support that child. And what is one mistake that we make as a parent that can stop that, helping our child achieve their, their best, right? To be able to tap into that talent, because everyone has a talent. I always tell parents, every child has a talent, right? But it's our responsibility to help that child discover it. But many times we kill and shut down that talent because we believe that the brilliance of our child is something else. Whereas your child is brilliant. Some children are brilliant in art, some are brilliant in science, some are brilliant, So when we're talking about brilliance, skillful in something, right? So you might be thinking, oh, I want my child to be skillful in, let's give an example, maths, right? But your child's talent is to be skillful in drama, right? But if you're open-minded, you'll be able to actually understand where your child's brilliance lies. And the last part, the last few weeks we've spoken about learning styles and all that. You can go past, the few, the replays that we've had. You can go through our page and you'll see that as well, how to support your child, to achieve, to enable their talents as well. We've spoken about that. So number 1 mistake. So common mistakes. Number one mistake. So mistake 1, stop telling your child that they can achieve anything, right? I know that I'm also guilty of that at times, right? When my children were younger, it's like, you can do everything, And to be honest, yes, they can do everything, but there's a caveat. If you're ready to put in the work. So yes, they can do everything, but they're not going to do everything by not putting the work. If you're not putting in the work, no. It's not coming to you. So we should know that yes, they can achieve anything, but it requires them to put in effort and work in ensuring that they achieve their dreams. So your child, everything that they're able to, yes, don't worry. So my kids are grown and married and my grandchildren are grown and out of school. Don't worry, it's still beneficial to you, right? Your grandchildren will also have grandchildren, and your grandchildren are raising children. I work with grandparents as well, right? So we never stop learning. So what we want to do is to ensure that, yes, you tell them that they can achieve anything, but they must be ready to put in the work and effort. It does not just come like that. And when we're also encouraging our children, we should encourage effort as well. Not that, oh, because they've not met their goals or their, what they've aspired. For example, many times we are like, oh, you didn't achieve this, your grades are not good, blah, blah, blah. What have you done about the efforts that they're putting into achieving that, right? So we must be able to also acknowledge the efforts that they're putting into what they're doing. So that's the number 1 mistake that we're making, saying they can do anything without putting in the caveat that no, life is not easy, right? You have to put in the work. When we put in the work, when we put in the effort, then we're able to achieve everything that we set our minds to achieve, right? Then the number 2 mistakes that we make is that stop using your child's intellectual abilities to measure their worth, which is tied to the first one that I said. So because your child is not great in certain subjects, you think your child is a dull child. No. What we want to do is encourage your children's actual interest. What is my child gifted in? What are my child's talent, right? So like I've said, some children are great. Let's give an example. Maybe your child is good at drama, for example, in school, right? But the child is not doing as much as you would want the child to do when it comes to the so-called maths, the so-called sciences at times. But, when you're trying to match brilliance with intellectual abilities, then we're not doing the right thing, right? We must be able to balance it. We want our children to be well-rounded, to ensure that they're doing well in their studies as well. But it's your responsibility to say, okay, you're doing well. This is your talent. These are your interests. So some children, maybe they like to dance, for example. They can dance. They can dance for Africa, right? But we say, instead of you to go and read your book, always dancing, always dancing. But how can you negotiate with that to say, okay, I've identified my child's, brilliance in dancing. And we see it in the world of today. Dancers some are doing really great. And that child can be the next, great dancer of all times. But many times we shut down their talents and, you say, oh, because you're not good intellectually, then you're not brilliant. No, every child is brilliant in their own giftings, right? So what you want to do is stop, trying to match intellectual abilities with, gifted abilities, right? Let there be a balance. But, many times what I've seen with many parents that I've worked with is that when you enable your child's interest, their innate abilities, many times they're able to now improve in the ones that they're not so great at. But when you try to shut down what they're very good in, then many times you do not get the best at the end of the day. So the number 3 mistake, that we make, this one, use of gadgets. We know we're in, trust me, I'm a child psychologist. We know we're in the digital world. Our children they need these gadgets, right? But what you want to do is ensure that it's not taking over their lives, right? You want to ensure that you introduce limits and boundaries, right? There must be time, screen time. There must be like your gadget time, and there must be time that they're investing in their own interest and ability as well. Because what I always tell parents now is that, the very successful people of years, let's even, our children's time, they're not even our time, to be honest, is not someone that has put in, so much work, or, it's those people that are using their time productively. So even if your children are using gadgets and all that, you want to ensure that it's productive. It's just not that they're just sitting down playing games all day, or they're just watching one cartoons all day. There's so many educational stuff that children can also do and learn on, online as well. So you want to ensure that, discourage the use of too much of gadgets at a go, right? You want to ensure that there are boundaries, and the easiest way to introduce boundaries is just having time, like a schedule to say, this is, your screen time, this is physical activity time, this is time you devote to your interests, to your talents, and all that. And let me give you the final mistake that we might be making is discouraging your children from playing. Yes, I know. Our children, children are meant to play, and it's not even young children, the older children too. Everybody, we too, we need to play at times. We need to loosen up, right? But everyone, your type of play might be different. But what we've observed is that when children play, especially for younger children, if you have younger children, you want to encourage them to do more of playing interaction, because we've seen that it's during playtime that children learn how to solve conflicts. That's when they learn how to compromise. That's when they learn how to negotiate. Even with siblings, that's when you're able to say, oh, you need to take turns, you need to do this, you have to wait for your time, and all that, right? But if you do not allow them to play and they're all day on their gadgets, they're going to struggle to know how to interact with people. And we know it's in the heart of interaction that your brilliance sets in as well. So it's not like you have a dummy child or whatever did you tell them to do. Nobody wants a dummy child. Your child should be able to say, oh, this is right, this is wrong. I think this is, your child should start to build that confidence to be able to stand up for their own values and their own, their choices and decisions as well. So quick wrap up if you're just joining. So we said 3 common mistakes that we need to avoid if we want to raise brilliant children is 1, stop telling them they can achieve anything without telling them that they need to put in effort into everything that they aspire to be, because it requires work and it requires some input. You don't just become something overnight. You have to do something to be able to achieve that. Then we should stop, comparing intellectual abilities to say, oh, because my child is, great at math. If you're not good at math, English or sciences, then you are dull. No, no, you're not, right? Is having to acknowledge their own interest as well, because every child is gifted. Everybody has their own talents. It's for you to be able to identify that. We're all good at different things. I'm going to get to your questions. I can see all that, right? And the next one that I said is, we need to discourage excessive use of gadgets as well. Gadgets is not bad. Is excessive use that we need to discourage and make their time more productive. We need to start to teach our children how to use their time productively, because that would be the challenges that they would be facing in the nearest future when we're all on the phones all the time, checking, our social medias, and we get carried away on TikTok, on Snap and all that. Then at the end of the day, what have they achieved, right? So if we want, the brilliance of your children to shine through, you want to ensure that you teach them how to manage their time well, on these gadgets, right? And finally, I gave that bonus to say, we should stop discouraging play. Play is good, because it's during play that your children, they learn how to solve conflict, how to, negotiate with others, how to make compromises as well. If you do not give them that opportunity to play with their siblings or with friends, then how do they learn how to do that, right? So that will be all for today. I will get to your questions. Thank you so much. I hope you've gained at least one thing on this call today. I do appreciate your time. So I would quickly just run through that. Thank you so much for making it engaging as well.